This podcast contains adult content and themes. For a full list of our content warnings, please see our show notes. Listener discretion is advised.
When your fears have taken their toll, when the demons have got out control, when the shadows just won't leave you alone, I'll be there. When your rainbows have turned into black, when the sun has turned its back, when all of your power let itself dry, I'll be
Welcome, my dear traveler, to the Morbid Forest.
Cold. So cold. Coldness like he's never felt before in his life. Dark. Darkness that enveloped him and held him closer than his mother's womb. She seemed nice. Well, the fact that she was a smoking hot 10 never hurt her chances with him either. Everyone wants someone to kiss at midnight on New Year's Eve, right? And, oh God, how he wanted to kiss her. Well, he wanted to do much more than that, to be honest. Their company always hired temps from November to January. They had to. To say the holidays were their busy season was an understatement. Their entire fiscal year hinged on Christmas sales. This particular season's fresh meat, as he and the boys in the office teased lecherously about the new temporary hires, was a delightful selection of blondes, brunettes, and one sassy little redhead he just had to have a little taste of for himself. Colleen was no ordinary fresh college grad out to conquer the world like so many career-oriented women of her age. No, Colleen was special. She was smart, funny, and drop-dead motherfucking gorgeous. She was head and shoulders above her peers, and she shined through like the diamond that she was. Oh, and how he wanted her. He'd lost count of the times he'd looked over his computer screen and saw her working away or chatting with a colleague. She'd giggle, bite her lower lip, and God damn if the crotch in his khakis didn't fucking tighten up a little. Man, the things he wanted to do to her. So, the New Year's Eve dinner and dance that his company sponsored this time of year was the perfect opportunity for him to ingratiate himself into Colleen's life. She was so receptive. He never thought twice. He just assumed she wanted him as bad as he wanted her. Granted, at 32, he was 10 years her senior, but still a damn fine-looking young man nevertheless. She was so into him, too. He recalled her pawing all over him in the closet by the kitchen that no one saw them duck away and enter. She practically begged him back to her place, and he needed absolutely no encouragement. It was a beautiful imitation Tudor-style house, replete with a dungeon he knew nothing about at the time he entered it. Oh, she sold the whole innocent girl next door thing that he completely bought right down to the ground. Hell, it's not like he was planning on marrying the girl, but he sure wanted to fuck her brains out for one night at the very least. Given his current set of circumstances, he really wished he hadn't let his dick decide this New Year's Eve plans. What happened? How did he get here? He wasn't really sure. I mean, he just put his typical Chase Biltmore moves on the little temp tramp, and she was eating right out of his hands, just like 100 simple little vapid and vacuous temp tramps before her. He saw her in no different a light than all that came before her. Well, all didn't come before her, but that's a chick's problem and not his. Colleen seemed so sweet and demure. How could he have gotten it so fucking wrong? And what was the cell he was in that was basically tantamount to a fucking cage? What the ever-loving fuck did he do to deserve this? Granted, he really could have used a better role model than his own philandering father, Benjamin Chase Biltmore Esquire. The old bastard had an ironclad prenup through his firm that got all the greedy bitches all of their cheating soon-to-be ex-husband's money that they earned. Greedy, dirty bitches that get rich quick and thank dear old dad by riding that dick. It sickened Chase to think how his dad was, but he really couldn't fault him. Dear old dad was just like him after all. Every fucking man for himself. Why shouldn't dad get rich off of other men's mistakes and misery? Plus, he can porno fuck their bitch to boot. He got it. He really did. Considering his mother, Persephone Aphrodite Paterus Biltmore, did the same thing to his dad? Why shouldn't Ben Biltmore give all the greedy bitches a little dose of their own medicine? So, who the fuck did Colleen Kelly Callahan think she was caging Chase Biltmore? Stupid little bitch was going to get it good when his dad's firm slams a lawsuit up that tight little fine ass of hers.
Oh yeah, bitch? You're gonna pay big time when I get out of this cage.
Chase spoke, seemingly to no one at all.
Am I now, Chase, darling? How so?
Colleen's voice seemed to descend from the heavens above, but Chase knew that wasn't the case. She had some kind of audio and video set up to be able to hear and see Chase at all points and times. He only heard her when she needed to speak to him. He had no control over the situation, and Chase was a man that loved control.
My father is the single most powerful attorney with his own firm in this state. You don't think he has equally powerful connections, you stupid little slut?
Chase stated matter-of-factly.
But what do your father's connections have to do with me?
Colleen harangued.
I just told you, dumb bitch.
Chase retorted.
No, you never told me what your father being a successful attorney with his own firm has to do with me. You simply told me he was.
Colleen was getting very testy.
Well, dumb bitch, just as soon as I get out of here, I'm telling him everything that happened, and you'll be in a real cell for a very long time since you did this to the wrong fucking person, bitch.
Chase snapped.
Chase, darling. What makes you think I'd ever let you out?
It was at that moment that the entire cell started spinning, and Chase almost threw up. Wait, not get out? Surely he heard Colleen wrong. That That just couldn't be. She couldn't have meant that. No way she couldn't have meant that.
You aren't serious, Colleen. Do you have any idea what kind of trouble you'd be in when you're found out?
Chase quickly shifted his approach to a more mellow one.
Oh, it's back to Colleen, is it now? Chase, darling, what makes you think I'll be found out? I've been meticulously planning this for years. Right down to every little detail.
Colleen mused. Chase's head spun completely out on that one. Years? Did she say years? Wait. How could she have planned this for years? She didn't know him until a couple of months ago, or so he thought.
What in the hell are you talking about, Colleen? We only met in November, so how did you plan this for years?
Chase was legitimately confused about this. It made absolutely no sense.
You are correct, Chase. We did physically meet in November. But I've known you for much longer than that.
Colleen continued to tease and bait Chase, which bothered him to a very great degree.
I don't understand. How did you plan this for years, but we just met in November?
Chase resigned himself to just asking Colleen outright.
Now you're starting to ask the right questions, Chase, my darling. I've known you for years, though. You've not known about me until November.
Colleen quasi-answered Chase's question.
How in the hell did you know me for years, but I didn't know you?
Chase was truly flummoxed at this point.
Although we didn't meet until November, I've known about you for about 5 years now.
Colleen replied matter-of-factly. Wait, 5 years? Chase was totally lost at that point.
I can see through my night vision that you're very confused, Chase. Want me to connect the dots for you?
Colleen purred into whatever microphone she was using to communicate with Chase.
Yeah, I do.
Chase admitted, in defeat.
Do you remember Caitlin?
Colleen casually queried. Was she honestly expecting him to mentally flip through the Rolodex in his brain and remember some chick he banged in a one-night stand right now?
Caitlin? No, doesn't ring any bells.
Chase retorted, snidely.
I figured you'd be quite cavalier and dismissive. This was about 5 years ago. Think hard now.
Colleen kept trying to jog his memory. Chase really racked his brain. From 5 years ago? Oh. Shit. Yeah. Caitlin. She was a hot little redhead too. Turned that bitch out that night. He never even let her stay for Rice Krispies in the morning.
Yeah. Caitlin. I remember now. So what about it?
Chase tried regaining his bravado.
Do you remember what happened, Chase darling?
Colleen pressed. Chase really had to think. He did remember her really being into him. Like, really into him. He figured she was probably one of those goofy tramps that got way too stuck on him and actually was stupid enough to buy all of his lies and bullshit.
Nope, can't say I do.
Chase just replied in a blasé manner.
I remember, Chase. I remember everything. You see, Caitlin was my older sister. 5 years to be exact. She was a temp for your company 5 years ago, just like I am now.
So you're locking me up in a dungeon because your pathetic-ass sister couldn't get over me from 5 years ago? That's not my problem.
Chase acerbically stated.
No, Chase.
I'm not locking you up because of that. I'm locking you up because my sister got pregnant during your one-night stand. And after you dumped her in such a ceremonious fashion, she was heartbroken and desperate. She knew she couldn't raise the baby by herself. Hell, she didn't even have the money to return home to Ireland so her parents could help. So, with no one and nowhere to turn, she walked right off of the roof of the abortion clinic she went to, but couldn't bring herself to go through with the procedure.
Colleen finally explained more thoroughly. Well, shit. Needless to say, Chase didn't see that Texas-sized twister coming. Chase being Chase, his initial thought was,
Well, that's one way to get out of having my hard-earned wages docked from my pay for her kid. So, she took a long walk off of a short pier. What the hell does that have to do with me? It's not like I pushed her.
Chase did his typical dodge, turn, parry, thrust, spin maneuvers, trying to avoid any and all culpability. Coincidentally, little Chase was popping up in his briefs wanting to know what was going on. This most definitely wasn't the most convenient time for an erection.
I figured something like that would be your typical response. Oh, I noticed that your underwear is bulging. Chase, darling. What's up?
Colleen mockingly teased.
Obviously my dick, bitch. So what of it? It's not like you and your sister haven't seen it before.
Chase was not resigned to his fate just yet.
That is factual, Chase, darling. By the way, have you ever heard of the Phonotria nigriventer species of spider?
Colleen quizzed, seemingly out of the blue.
What in the hell did you just ask me?
Chase was confused and in pain? Like severe pain. His blood pressure, heart rate, breathing, and erection were all increasing, and he was beginning to sweat profusely.
I asked you if you had ever heard of the Phonotria nigriventer species of spider. Their genus has also collectively been referred to as the Brazilian wandering spider. Have you heard of them, Chase?
Colleen seemed serious, and Chase was really beginning to suffer.
Like banana spiders or some shit?
Exactly, yes. That is another thing they are called. Banana spiders. Well, Brazilian wandering spiders have a very medically significant venom. It can cause a whole host of problems. One of them is priapism.
Colleen continued to bring Chase up to speed.
Prior what?
Chase's vitals were erratic. His heart was thumping in his chest as hard as his erection was in his briefs. He couldn't catch his breath. What was going on? And what had this little bitch done to him?
Priapism equals an erection lasting 4 hours. You know, that's the little sidebar they do for all of the erectile dysfunction treatment commercials.
Colleen clarified. Oh, God. Wait. How in the... What had Oh, God. Oh, God, no.
Wait, I don't understand.
Chase was getting very dizzy and was profusely sweating. His heart rate, blood pressure, respiratory system, stomach, and penis were giving him a very hard time. Pun intended.
Let me shed a little light on the subject for you.
At that moment, Colleen turned the overhead lights on in Chase's dungeon. Chase looked outside of his cell where there were bunches of bananas in 2 corners. There were also about a dozen tarantula-sized spiders crawling all over the dungeon floor and his cell floor. His feet had bites all over them.
Oh, Jesus Christ! These fucking things can actually kill people!
Chase screamed and shook violently. Although, at this point, He wasn't sure if the shaking was from terror or convulsion.
I'm counting on it, Chase, darling.
Colleen laughed maniacally.
Call 911! I won't press charges. Just let me out of here and I won't tell anybody.
Chase's bravado was gone. He was so nauseated. He knew vomiting and diarrhea wouldn't be fun rocking a priapism pecker.
No, Chase, you certainly won't be telling anybody. You aren't getting out either.
Colleen continued her gleeful giggling. It was then Chase started vomiting blood, and bloody stools were dripping down the back of both legs. He was still rocking the priapism pecker. He could hardly breathe. His chest had crushing pains, and he just fell to his knees, sobbing uncontrollably.
There, Chase, darling. I'll sing you a song until you fall asleep. Permanently.
Colleen was making some half-assed attempt at calming him, Chase thought. Well, that's what he thought, until he heard her sweet Irish lilt.
Little Miss Morbid sat on a toilet, eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider, sat down beside her, and frightened Miss Morbid away.
Colleen's maniacal laugh and beautiful Irish lilt singing that horrendous song for hours were the last two things Chase Biltmore ever heard.
This has been a Morbid Forest production, and on this week's episode you've heard Along Came a Spider, written by Kim Sandlin, with narration by Jessica Hart as your narrator, Sean Conkling-Methot as Chase, and Cathy Tran as Colleen. Story editing and audio production by Naomi Richards. Music and sound effects provided by Epidemic Sound. Our theme music this season is The Shadows by Nandi Bushhill. Follow us on X, or Twitter if you're old school, Instagram, Blue Skies, Tumblr, Discord, and Threads to stay up to date on all the happenings within the forest. Interested in more morsels of the forest? Then join our Patreon. As a faithful traveler, you'll receive exclusive access to ad-free, early episode releases and bonus content for only $3 a month. That's patreon.com/themorbidforest. Love what you're hearing? Then leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Reviews and ratings help us reach more travelers out there just like you. Interested in hearing your story on Season 6? Then send it over to themorbidforest@gmail.com. You can also head to our website, which is in the link in our show notes, to go ahead and read our submission guidelines. There really aren't that many, but we have a few things. So go ahead and give that a read, or if you have any questions about your story, feel free to send those over to the email listed. We are more than happy to talk to you guys about your stories or ideas and stuff and help flesh things out. And just a reminder, guys, there's only 3 more episodes left in this season. I hope you guys are ready for them. And with that, we'll see you next week, travelers, on The Morbid Forest.